Marlena. I'd just completed my master's degree and had returned to my native Germany from Copenhagen. I found that all my peers had automatically adopted the mindset of being grown-ups and were systematically embarking on the sensible path of getting jobs, building up their careers and earning money. I, on the other hand, had opted for a volunteering job at an NGO, which is something most people do when they are a little bit younger, perhaps fresh out of college. And even stranger, out of all the options available, I'd applied for opportunities in Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan or Georgia, the one in Europe, in that order of preference. I would be gone for a whole year. My choice of opting for those places was not at all rational, and I have no idea what put that region on my radar in the first place, other than perhaps curiosity about little-known post-Soviet era countries. I would be stepping away from the familiarity of Europe, as well as from my boyfriend, whom I'd been with for almost a year at that point. People around me weren't being that supportive of my decision either, and I truly couldn't explain why I was going ahead with it, other than to say that a strong feeling was telling me I just had to do it. When it comes to big decisions in life, I have always found that when I don't listen to my mind and just follow my gut, things actually pan out quite nicely. I knew to trust that. That same strong feeling was also saying that I would end up being placed in Georgia, and soon this was confirmed. I was to be stationed in Tbilisi, the capital. I said what I thought was a temporary goodbye to my boyfriend in Germany and headed to Georgia for the year. The nature of the relationship with my boyfriend was such that we both had fairly busy lives and weren't living in the same place, so we would only catch up on weekends. Having such an active tempo was something that I thrived in, something that fueled and fulfilled me, yet I also sensed that I longed for a base, a nest, the kind of existence that would make me say, I'm home. My boyfriend was someone who checked all the boxes, someone that my parents would approve of. But since I'd moved to Georgia and had time to experience things from afar, I'd been growing increasingly aware of my unhappiness. Being long distance now, all we had was verbal communication, and I realised our chats were mostly small talk and fairly superficial. I hadn't yet realised that this was actually a reflection of the lack of emotional depth in our relationship, and so I was always left with this feeling of deficiency that I just couldn't pinpoint and transfer from my subconscious into my conscious reasoning. Suddenly, without the cover of my distraction-packed, fast-paced life, the relationship was standing naked right in front of me, and I was trying very hard not to look at it, lest I had to acknowledge its flaws. Everything fit so well on paper. How could he not be the right one for me? It was a dance of avoidance between me and myself. One of us was bound to get tired. The bland, arid landscape of that relationship was actually going to be quite important in terms of the contrast it set to all that was to follow when I met Ely. But I had no idea of that at the time. My explosive awakening. Ellie. My awakening was not so subtle. It was about 2.5 years ago, and I was living in Lebanon, where I'm from. I was on my laptop studying when my friend Alex dropped by one evening. We were having coffee and chit-chatting about his girlfriend, his friends, and his life in France. I was finishing up on my computer when suddenly, out of absolutely nowhere, a voice popped right into my head and asked, "What are you doing here? What the hell are you doing here?" I sat there casually carrying on my conversation with Alex as I quietly responded to this phantom voice in my head. I'm about to finish my degree in business and management. I also just finished my studies in psychology, and I'm working while I'm preparing to go to the UK for my master's degree. And what the hell? But there it was again, the same voice, the same question. What the hell are you doing here? I'd been meditating regularly for about 5 years at that point, so my senses were rather open. My mind silently responded, well, what should I be doing? The voice said, "Get the hell out of here." Wow, I told Alex I needed to go to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom in a daze, shut the door and splashed some water on my face. As I slowly raised my head, I caught a reflection of myself in the mirror, and I could not recognize myself. The face staring back at me was a stranger to me. I was out of breath. What in the world was happening to me? I went back to the room, downed my coffee, closed my laptop, and I said, "Alex, listen, no more." He said, "Yeah, funny. What do you mean no more?" I said, No more. No more study and no more work. I'm traveling. That's it." I opened up my to-do list. What was on my list? Yoga and meditation teacher training. Bingo! That's what I was going to do. What's the country that it comes from? India. Okay, let's go to India. Done.